Do you want the truth about how Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein's relationship really ended? Because Epstein was at Donald Trump and Melania's wedding in 2005. The truth is fairly shocking, and you've asked for it. We delivered. Michael Wolff, who is going to potentially be the biographer for Jeffrey Epstein, who spent many days and many hours talking to Epstein and learning all the secrets from Epstein. And Wolff is also a biographer of Donald Trump. Wolff knows the real story. It involves Russian oligarchs, a real estate deal gone wrong, and Epstein's belief that because Donald Trump screwed Epstein over in a real estate transaction and subsequently sold the property to a Russian oligarch for 2 times the value, when Epstein threatened legal action, Epstein thought, is it possible that Donald Trump was the person who, because Trump knew all about what he and Epstein were getting into, that Trump was the one who initially went to authorities to go after Epstein that way as this litigation battle was heating up. Jeffrey Epstein sat with Michael Wolff and told Wolff this story back in 2019 originally. Wolff then published some of that story. You're going to hear more from Wolff now in a book about Donald Trump called Siege. And then Epstein called Wolff up panicked and saying, I may have told you too much. 3 weeks later, Epstein is arrested and dies after signing that non-prosecution agreement back in 2008 with the Republican United States Attorney. So we get exclusives now from Michael Wolff here on the MeidasTouch Network. He makes these just for you, just for the MeidasTouch audience, the #1 YouTube podcast in the country right now. So without further ado, let me bring in the Michael Wolff exclusive. Michael, take it away.
Yesterday in Scotland, Donald Trump was falling all over himself to explain when he stopped being friends with Jeffrey Epstein. An acknowledgement, by the way, that they were friends. Let's see if we can establish a timeline for this, for both Trump's explanation and Epstein's explanation of what happened. Trump says that he threw Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago. Epstein, by the way, had never been a member of Mar-a-Lago, threw Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago and stopped being friends with him because he was stealing Mar-a-Lago employees. Someone, a member of the press, asked him, did he mean Virginia Giuffre, or then she was then Virginia Roberts, who became one of Epstein's accusers? And Trump said yes, immediately latched onto that. But in fact, Epstein hired Virginia Roberts Giuffre in 2000. And we can chart a continued friendship between these two men in plain manifests, photographs, phone calls, and in fact, a picture of Epstein at Trump's wedding to Melania in 2005. So this relationship that Trump now says ended in 2000 actually demonstrably continues to at least 2005. And just by the way, it is that period from 2000 to 2005 in which most of the allegations against Epstein take place. Now, Epstein's explanation for why this friendship ended is as follows. In 2004, Epstein believed himself to be the high bidder on a piece of real estate in Palm Beach, a house. $36 million was his bid. He took his friend Trump around to see the house to advise him on how to move the swimming pool. Trump thereupon went around Epstein's back and bid $40 million for the house and got the property. Epstein, who was well acquainted, in fact, deeply involved with Trump's scattered finances, understood that he didn't have $40 million to pay for this house. Now, if that was the case, it was someone else's $40 million. At the time, Epstein believed this to be the $40 million of a Russian oligarch by the name of Rybolev. Less than 2 years later, this same house that Trump had bought for $40 million was sold for $95 million. And it was, in fact, sold to Mr. Rybolev. This is all a red flag of money laundering. And what Epstein did, and he was furious about losing this house. I mean, there's something about these guys that nothing rouses them so much as a real estate betrayal. Epstein, after the sale of this house, after Trump went around his back, got this house, Epstein began to threaten him. He began to threaten him with lawsuits. He began to threaten him with going to the press and saying that Trump was a front man for a money laundering deal. Trump panics at this point, and Epstein believed, and he believed to his dying day, that it was Trump who went to the police, Trump who was fully acquainted with what was going on at Epstein's house, fully acquainted for many years. Trump went to the police and, as Epstein said, dropped the dime on him. That is to say, informed the police of what was going on, and an investigation began, and all of Epstein's legal problems for the next 15 years began to unfold. This story about this piece of real estate and their falling out was first published in June 2019. It was published actually in my book, Siege, the second book I had written about the Trump White House. Epstein had recounted this story to me. I put it in this book. Epstein at that moment was in Paris. He read the book. He called me with some alarm, and he said he was afraid that he might have said too much. 3 weeks later, he returned to the United States from Paris and was promptly arrested on the tarmac of Teterboro Airport in New Jersey when his plane landed.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.